both an honor and a pleasure to have the opportunity to introduce the esteemed Congressman Conyers. And I have a little background information for everyone. Representative John Conyers is a Detroit Democrat and was reelected to represent the 14th Congressional District in November of 2008 to his 22nd term in the U.S. House of Representatives. He, having entered the House of Representatives in 1965, Mr. Conyers is the second most senior member of the House of Representatives. Congressman Conyers was also a member of the Judiciary Committee in its 1974 hearings, and as part of the Judiciary Committee chairman, he was also the chairman of the House Committee in Government Operations that has now been renamed to the Committee on Oversight and Government Reform from 1989 until 1994. In 2006, Congressman Conyers was elected by his congressional colleagues to lead as chairman to the pivotal House Committee on the Judiciary. In addition to its oversight to the Department of Justice, including the FBI and the federal courts, the Judiciary Committee has jurisdiction over copyright, civil rights, consumer protection, and constitutional issues. Congressman Conyers is also one of the 13 founding members of the Congressional Black Caucus and is considered to be the dean of such the group. In Conyers' 40-plus years in Congress, some of his major accomplishments include the Violence Against Women Act of 1994, the Motor Voter Bill of 1993, the Martin Luther King Holiday Act of 1983, the Alcohol Warning Label Act of 1988, and the Jazz Preservation Act of 1987. In addition, as the chairman of the Judiciary Committee, Representative Conyers has introduced and endorsed legislation to advance civil liberties, ensure equal protection and access to the voting booth, and combat violence against women. As a lead sponsor to the Violence Against Women Act, which was enacted in 1994 and reauthorized in 2001, he is an outspoken critic against violence against women and has worked as the principal author of the End of Racial Profiling Act legislation that would ensure the rights of all Americans are protected by banning racial profiling nationwide by requiring all federal enforcement agencies to take administrative steps to eliminate the practice. In addition, for more than 3 decades, Congressman Conyers had led efforts in Congress to reform the healthcare system. He is the founder and chairman of the Congressional Universal Health Care Task Force and a 45-member Congress, which mission is to pass universal health care legislation by 2005. This is a comprehensive quality health care. The caucus introduced House Concurrent Resolution 99, which was adopted to support over 450 grassroots organizations across the country and dozens of members of Congress. He recently introduced to the United States Nation Health Insurance Act, H.R. 674, and Medicare for All single-payer bill, which was an endorsement of over 4,000 physicians nationally. Mr. Conyers is also committed to promoting peace and understanding. He voted against the House Resolution 114, which gave the President the authority to vote to invade Iraq. Additionally, he signed on as a plaintiff to a lawsuit which was asserted that the resolution was unconstitutional and therefore not valid, since the Constitution specifically designates that only Congress can declare war. Just a little personal information. Born in 1929, Representative Conyers was raised in Detroit and educated in the city's public school system. After serving in the National Guard in the United States Army Corps of the Engineers in the Korean War, he returned to Michigan, where he earned both his Bachelor's of Arts in 1957 and Juris Doctorate in 1958. Degrees both held at Wayne State University. He is a recipient of many awards for leadership, including the Southern Christian Leadership Conference Award, which was presented by him by the Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. He has also been awarded a number of honorary degrees from colleges and universities throughout the nation. And he appears tonight in the Rose City as our welcome guest and speaker. Thank you very much.
Thank you all. know who her mother is, so I'm so happy to be here to join all of you tonight to be in Norwich, Connecticut by way of Rhode Island. And our staff kept saying, "What are you going to Rhode Island for? Is this a mistake on the schedule? What are you doing there when you should come up the regular way?" But I'm glad I did, and I'm so happy to be with some of you whom I've had the pleasure to meet before. I even met some teabaggers outside that have met me before. So we welcome all of you here to this discussion. I'm so privileged to be here from Detroit, where the Reverend Dr. Wendell Anthony is the president of the largest chapter in the United States. And he's running for chairman of the board. I had to get that in. And he was here a few months ago. And I understand that he was in his usual fiery form, articulate and insightful in a way that very few are. It's so good to see the rabbi and his wife here, and the pastor of this church, who I now find out was a former elected official himself. I started my career off by, I'd never run for any office before, but I had been the assistant to Congressman John Dingell, who's the dean of the House, and it's so ironic that, and he's been there 53 years, I think, and when I started off, he was my congressman, and he went, they called me in and they said, "You ought to apply for a position with the congressman." I was a senior in law school, and Governor G. Minute Williams had just won in Michigan, went to Lansing, and he took John Dingell's lawyer. And so I was able to start off working for John Dingell even before I finished law school. So the one advantage I had, I have two. My father was well known and I was a junior, so everybody said, "Yeah, sure, I know Johnny Conyers, so if you're anything like him, we'll be able to support you. I don't know why you're doing this. If you've never run for office, you're supposed to go through the ranks, Joe Courtney. You're supposed to work yourself up and then finally go to Congress." They said, "This whole idea of you starting off as a congressman." But the other advantage besides my father's name is that I knew every place in the district, and I knew where all the activists were. I went to the churches. I was there representing Chairman Dingell, and so I knew all this more than anybody else. And so, although my state rep was running, my state senator was running, businessmen were running, but I was the one that knew where everything was. And